Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of SpecTalk. Today's Wednesday, August 20th, and our topic today is going to be global terms in SpecLink. This is a topic where I think we're going to have a lot of really good takeaways today because our guest is really dialed into that. So whatever projects you're working on, global terms offer a streamlined way to control repeated content throughout your specification. As you all know, you update it once, it updates it globally throughout the project, and we're going to dive really deep into that today. With you, as always, is myself, Dory Azar, architectural consultant and product specialist here at RIB Software. Joining me, as always, is Alex Bear, strategic account executive team lead. How you doing, Alex?
I'm good. I'm good. Good afternoon. Good morning to those on the line today.
Oh, there probably are some if it's still good morning to you, good morning, and then let us know what part of the country that you're tuning in from. This week, Alex and I would love to invite you guys to connect with us on LinkedIn. We're both really active there, sharing a lot of content, a lot of information and notifications for upcoming Spec Talks. So if you'd like, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, and we'll connect with you there. On today's episode of Global Terms, we're going to be talking about a few key points. We're going to talk about how to accelerate editing and your formatting workflow with the use of global terms. We're going to talk about how they improve your QC process and reduce errors. And then the part that I'm looking forward to the most, and hopefully we get some mind blown by the end of this, is the footer cost analysis. And I know that's kind of a funny title, but once you see how that breaks down, I think you're all going to be really impressed with the time savings that's involved there. Today's guest, it's such a privilege to welcome back Eric Letbetter for another episode. Eric Letbetter is an architect and licensed in the state of Georgia and CSI Certified Construction Specifier with over 3 decades of experience in the field. As the founder of Letbetter Inc., Eric is more than a specifier and focuses on specification writing solutions. Eric now leverages his extensive architectural and specification writing expertise to provide high quality specification writing teaching, strategic development of master specifications and management, and quality control services for the construction industry. The vast majority of Eric's various software skills are self taught and currently reflected in his deep understanding of RIB SpecLink Cloud. On a personal note, Eric is a father of 2 young adults and an accomplished mid-pack endurance athlete. What an understatement to say mid-pack endurance. That guy's a beast. Eric, welcome to the show. Awesome to have you back on here.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Super excited to see what we can do today.
Oh, I think there's going to be a lot that we can do today. So I'm going to give this is your notice, Eric. We're about to turn the reins over to you to share with
Okay.
everybody what you've got in mind. But the first thing that we're going to do is start with a poll today, and I've got 3 options to choose from. let's go with um, let's go with this one. This was yours, Eric. Did you know you can use global terms within a choice field? I didn't know this. This is something that I learned from Eric. Was that last week that we jumped on our call to prep for today? Alex, were you aware that you could put global terms in choice fields?
I wasn't. No.
Guys, this is just one of those things that one of those uh, kernels of knowledge we're going to be taking away from Eric today. So the numbers are still bouncing around here. Okay, we'll cut it right there. So 71% had no idea, and 29% were like, "Yeah, I got this, Eric. Are you kidding me?" So on that note, we're going to turn it over to you, Eric. The screen is yours. The comment section it is open. The chat is open. So if you guys have any questions along the way, drop us a note. If we can answer them live with Eric, we'll do it. If we got to follow up with you on a follow-up call or email, we'll do our best to do that too. So Eric, it's all yours.
Awesome. Okay. So the first thing about that, there's a nuance to the poll, and it whether the fact that you can have global terms inside a choice field is a feature that's only available in SpecLink Cloud. That was not something that you could do in E. So that to be fair to the group, if you're not in cloud and not using that, then you may not know. So some of your veterans may not understand that fully.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to sort of do a global terms 101 session here in terms of where they are, what they do, how they behave, etc. Why use them? There's three reasons I like to say is time, and consistency. So if you go to the right menu bar where the document manager lives, um, there's your list of global terms. Mine has, obviously I've got a number of custom global terms. Um, you can use the search bar to filter these things out. So if I want to look for say the spec term for contractor, et cetera. So you can always cull down this list, say, start to type in. And so this list will filter to anything that, works out for that. So that's super easy. So if I've got one of my favorite ones is that I use in my proposals is client stuff. So I've got a number of times I write, I need more information than just what the name of the project and who some of the players are. And that ties back to one of the earlier spec talks that talked about global terms, or that talked about having your having proposals inside the SpecLink environment. And so this is one of those outputs from that. So as stated in the summary, global terms are just something that repeats the same every time you place it. So for example, if
Eric,
you
maybe
have the
something we'll
term,
ask you for today is if there's an opportunity to zoom in, or if you're doing something that's kind of in a tighter space, sometimes zooming in, because depending on what screen viewers are watching on, it could be sometimes tough to see that.
okay, I'll keep that in mind. The software
Thank you.
changes if I zoom in too much. So okay, so that's sort of where they live. Quick reminder to use your little help. You go to your help session, and all you have to remember for today is to type in global terms, and it's going to pull up the knowledge base. There's a good bit of things and other data and some community commentary on global terms. So that's something to keep in mind. So with that, I am going to slide over to the global terms and sort of a custom section that I have. How do you print them out, and why would you want to print them out? So this is just a list of the RIB specific global terms. This is not, and this is just something I typed out and then I drag. Let's talk about the way that they behave. So global term, if you want to use something in here, so all you do is, I don't know if my mouse is showing up, but if you hover over whatever the global term is, say bid date, and I can just left click and hold and drag it over and place it. So bid date now shows up there. And then I can type, and then I can, this icon is for new. So if you want to make a new one, you click on that. It'll ask you to make a new one. We'll go through that shortly. The way to view these is there's an edit button here. And so I can type in something, what is that? The bid date. You can still filter in that, and you just pick today, and you can see it automatically fixes that. So it updates that automatically. That's sort of the 101 on what they are and why you would use them and where they are. So the next part of that is how to
Hey,
print
Eric.
them out. So yeah.
I'm sorry, I have a question right off the bat that someone came in, and I think it might actually help to frame the
Agreed.
whole, presentation. So we have a question that came in that basically there's a user that I guess used global terms on one of the projects or a few projects. They were global to the full project, and others were global to, I guess, the whole database. Are you familiar with that, or that? To my understanding, it's only a project-wide or master-wide
So
feature.
all the global terms should behave globally to your database. So if I open any project, I
Okay.
should have all of these global terms available to me.
Yeah, the
There
terms, but
is
not the values of the term.
not okay. So correct. So the
Right.
terms themselves
Mhm.
are global. The values for each term are project specific. So if I were
Project
talking in
specific.
Revit terms, the term name here is a global parameter, and the project value is an instance parameter.
Right.
Right. So really, if you don't modify the value, right? Or if you keep it the same as the global term, then that would be database wide. But if you go, because that's the default that comes out of SpecLink out of the box. But if you were to change the value, that will just be, modifying that instance of that wording in that particular project.
Right. And so in this case, if we look at the owner actual name is XYZ Corporation is the sort of the default that comes in here. And if I type Letbetter Inc., it changes it instantly there. The parameter is still called the owner's actual name. And it does remember some things when you start to type some things in there. It does tend to remember some of those things that you used to type there. All good?
Perfect.
I think so. Yeah, let's keep moving, and if we got to clarify that after, we can do that.
Okay. So this is pretty simple. I can't take credit for making this. Special tip to Beth Stroshane for this reminder after Eric asked RIB if they could give us a way to print it out. So
that is
shout
one of
out
another
to,
question that came in was, how did Eric get to that list of global terms? That is a built list.
This is all. These are all. So if you look at the column here, these are all user terms. So
Oh yes, yeah.
Now, if you want to do this yourself, you could just start with here's how I would do it. You start with a blank. Don't even start with any descriptions. Drag all your global terms in there as generic as possible. Export it to Word, re-import it to RIB as just text. So you lose the intelligence, and then you can start to drag and drop those things, and you don't have to type all that stuff.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah, and I apologize, Eric. I think we're derailing you a little bit early on. Or the excitement's
okay.
the questions are starting to pop in. So why don't we let you keep rolling with what you had prepped, and we'll interrupt you when we need to.
Okay. So there's a nuance, I think, also to your custom global terms and sharing projects. So if you send someone a project and it has some custom, if you have a whole bunch of custom global terms, the only global terms that will carry with that project are the ones that are actually in the content. So if you have a section like this for your custom global terms, and I have one. This is one of mine. These are my custom global terms, and so they live in this project. So if I were to send a copy of my project that had this section in it, all of those global terms would carry with it and populate into that the recipient's database. So you want to be thoughtful and careful about how that looks and behaves. Let's go to the header and let's go look at a header and footer real quick. So the best place to use them, the most effective place to use them is actually in the header and footer. And if you weren't here last week, I think we talked about how to find the header and footer. Once you're inside a section, you can come over to sort of the upper right hand corner and click on the header footer. And now you can see a header that's littered with all sorts of green text. And so for me, I have this is sort of my default setting. So I've got the project name, project ID, date and time, footer date, all that. Section name, ID number, client name, client project number. And so when I preview that, you can see it starts to populate some of those things that weren't. They didn't say that in the body. So when you understand that you're looking at data here, sometimes it'll show that, sometimes it won't, and then when you preview, you get the actual output. So that's actually client project name and client project. Those are the titles there. So that's how they look there. Now from that, here's the fun part where we talk about the footer cost analysis. So when I went to get when I wanted my first, when I was back at corporate, I wanted my first license of SpecLink. I wanted to figure out how we were gonna pay for it and how it was gonna get funded. And so based on this idea alone. So if in this case, if I change the footer here, it changes it in every section across the entire database that has that content, right? If the project name changes, same thing. As long as I manage my header and footer correctly, it will update everything. And the way you do that is I use a project-wide header and footer. You can create a section header and footer, and I might do that for something like a form, or there are use cases for where you wouldn't have you may not want your project header and footer. The title page, I don't use project header and footer on the title page. My title page has a section-based header and footer that's blank, so that I don't have any. So I have a clean cover page.
Right.
So I do my cover pages inside of SpecLink. And
And that's a
so
good troubleshooting too thing, right? Like if if they're seeing different headers and footers in any given section, maybe that button is selected, and that might be a good troubleshooting thing for
correct.
if people see that.
Right. Now, you keep in mind that you can also do different things with that, with the header footer. You have several options here. You make the same on all pages. You can have a different header and footer on the first page, different on the first odd and even, and then different odd and even pages. There are use cases for that. Different agencies like formatting things different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a significant opportunity to customize your stuff here. And so I decided that back when I was at corporate and they were using Microsoft Word files, at any given point, a project, the header and footer may need to change. I don't know, three or four. You may change that date 3 or 4 times. And if it's a multifamily project, that project name might change. Who knows how many times?
I was just going to say,
so
it's not just the project date sometimes.
No, it's not. Sometimes it's the project name.
Mm-hmm.
And so this isn't coming over. My header footer calculation isn't coming over.
Yeah, I can share stories from my career where a project name has changed at some point of the process, and opening up 1.3 million Word files to update headers and footers is it's not a 10-minute exercise, Eric. It's it's a pretty long, monotonous, drawn out exercise.
All right, we're gonna do it this way. Do a little cheat code. So I literally did a spreadsheet for this and said, okay, if I've got on any given project 120 sections, and it takes me, let's just call it 1 minute. So I have to change the footer, I have to open the file, I have to change it, I have to save a copy, I have to print it. And so I think it's fair to say that would take a minute of time.
Mm-hmm.
So multiply that by, convert that to hours, multiply that by a labor rate, the number of times you do it on a project, so your per project cost, and then multiply that by the number of projects a large firm might do a year. And just in changing the footer alone, 3 times on average for every project you do could be a $22,000 line item. So even for a small, and even for, I know it's crazy. It's crazy. And those
but it's accurate. I believe your numbers,
Yeah, those little mouse clicks add up. And so anything
mm-hmm.
you can do to shorten the time frame matters. And so that was probably a mouse click decision that came up from me when I was an architect trying to draw stuff faster. So even a small firm that has, say, 90 sections on it, they're averaging, they're doing it same thing, 3 times per project, and they do 12 projects a year. It's $4,000, it's $4,000. Mm-hmm. So that was the hack that got me my first license. And from there it grew.
It's a really simple but powerful, convincing chart, right? It's hard to argue those numbers. And who only wants 12 projects a year, right? If they can take 24, they would do it too. But definitely see what you're saying. If one change is it's a simple change, but it's a long, monotonous change.
Right.
So let's go to example number 2. This is the summary. This is sort of a very customized version of the RIB template. I'll show you a sneak peek here. So I track and log my spec updates, and I hate typing this thing every time. So I made a custom global term, and I just drag it over there, and so it looks the same every time. So that's just another life hack for how you can use that thing consistently. So there's a whole bunch of different scenarios that I have, and I've used a number of different global terms to make some templates here for project summary. And so turn off that linking hack a little bit. So the default goes to this, and I've set up some links. Shout out to SpecLink, SpecTalk on linking. You can see that one. So this one that I'm activating now. So right now, if you can see it, I'll try to zoom in on this one a little bit. See if I can zoom in on that one. Right. So new construction. So this is a choice field. Right. So this is where the decision about using a choice field versus a global term matters, I think. So I have a global term for, and that's going to disappear. My menu disappears when I do that.
Oh, no problem.
So,
It's just a question, Eric, but if you could, yeah, just do your best on that.
okay. So I have a global term called project type. And so all I have to do is come in here under my project type and change that to, spell it correctly, data center, and click back in, and it's a data center. So for me, I do the reason that the airport is there is because I do some aviation work. So if I type in SRQ for Sarasota Bradenton, then I have a data center at Sarasota Bradenton there.
Cool.
Now, project location, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4th Street, and then Atlanta, Georgia, 303, 45. So what I've done here is I have created. I'm gonna right click on this, and if you don't know, this is a choice field, so you can right click on a choice field to edit it. Doesn't matter if you made it or if RIB made it. I'll go through another example in a couple minutes, but you can edit that choice. Okay. And so inside here are all the terms that are associated with the project location. And I've got this choice field set to multi-select. So I have built a custom choice list here. And so sometimes our project location has one line, sometimes it has two, sometimes we don't know the project location. So now that lives in a choice field, I can say it's a project in Atlanta. I can cull that down and say it's a project in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm working on that. I'll work on that one a little bit. But maybe the type construction, maybe that's not something that repeats over and over again. If it is something that shows up a number of times in your project, then that may be something that you want to think about as a global term. But right now, for me, this is pretty much the only place it shows up, and so that's where my decision to use that as a global term. And this one, this is a global term. This is a global term, so that's another choice field for multifamily stuff. And I can change that. So it says what we got here is we got a unit count, and we've got a word called unit suite here. So the use case there is, I go back to my global terms and I type unit. I can say that unit suite is a guest suite, and I can say that's 256. So I can say it's 256 keys of guess suite. So anytime I reference the number of the unit count in here, it'll update in that global term.
Interesting. And that's how many, for example, how many places would you have something like that located? Like, actually, let me ask you this question. When it comes to global terms, what's the one that maybe appears the most or across the most sections that you get the most bang for your buck on?
So the best, maybe one of the better one is actually the owner's spec term. I did have a project where the developer wanted to change the word owner to developer everywhere. And
Okay.
It was just an easy button. It was like you come in here and you change that. And every time in the front end in the division one documents, every time that says owner, if it's a spec term, it will get changed to developer.
And you charge them for 4 hours worth of changes, right? I just want to make sure of that. 6 a half day. That's a half day.
You could. It's reprinting the thing takes longer than changing the spec term.
I'd be really curious how, and I know you and I kind of joked about that, Eric, in our previous call, but how people, and if anybody wants to throw a comment in the chat, I'd love to hear how you handle quick changes. Do you, is it something that you just kind of sweep under the rug? Yeah, it's a good client. Or do you, even if it's a quick change, it's still a change and there's a base sort of fee for that, regardless of who the client is? I'd love to hear how people approach that problem, but I digress. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. No, I'll save my nickel for the. I'll save my nickel opinion.
You're the guest, man. You can talk about, the microphone's yours till 1. You can say whatever you'd like to.
Yeah. So for me, for something small like that, I'd rather let that be a sort of an indication that I work smarter, not harder. It's like, yeah, I can do that. I can do all sorts of crazy stuff. Can you change the footer? Yeah, no problem. Had a client ask me, he's like, well, what would it take to reprint this thing in short form? I was like, everybody that knows I use SpecLink knows that it's really just a click of the click of the, it takes that, so it would take me a couple minutes to reprint it that way. The trick there actually becomes what the content says. Does the content still say what you want it to say? It becomes a quality control issue more so than, can you just give us a document that's not as long? We think, this spec book is pretty long.
Yeah.
It's a little heavy and we want something a little lighter. And I think what we really want is a short form. Say, okay, I could do that.
When the change is quicker than sending the invoice.
Answer.
But it's funny when the change that they're requesting is quicker than it would take to send the invoice for the work performed.
Yeah, if it costs me more to send an invoice than it is to do the change, then I'm probably not doing it.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah. So sort of one of the things you can look at is if you have so global terms, you may have noticed, show up predominantly green. They're green everywhere unless currently they show up in a choice field, right? So how do you know? So this is blue, so you might think that's just a choice. How do you know if that's smart text or dumb text? You actually have to right click on that and say edit the choice. And then you get the menu pops up, and because it's green in here, you'll understand that's smart text.
A global.
Yeah. And so on this topic of changing the owner to the developer, as documents get merged and you bring in new stuff, or you're importing your things, some of those things, if they don't, they may get missed, or you have to review them. And so, my favorite description of this is how do you check those global terms? And so one thing you can do is you can come in here and we can type. I use this one a lot. So contractor spec term. So if we want to define rogue dumb text compared to regular smart text, correctly provided smart text, we might change. I'll do a Jedi substitution instead of the Beth Strocane wizard substitution. So we'll say this is Darth Vader. We'll say the design professional is Obi-Wan.
And this is why you can't miss an episode of Spec Talk, because when you have one guest referencing a previous guest and then
That's
that
right.
guest is referencing, like it's like a concept album. It's just that every season ties together.
That's right.
So now,
Yeah,
now that
the
I've done
team
this,
is
I can go
building.
back. I can print my entire document again. I can search for the terms owner, contractor, and architect and find the rogue agents.
um, Eric, we got another quick question that came in from Steve, and Steve is always asking the best questions every week. And this actually popped into my brain when you were doing it earlier. So right on your screen right there, you've got the 256 keys of guest suites.
Yeah.
I believe it's 250. The question came in, it says, do you experience any issues where you have multiple global terms together, like this example, but when you go to print the section, SpecLink sandwiches the terms together and removes the spacings between the words? So you have two
I
global
don't.
terms there, 250
Yeah.
something keys of guest suites. Do you have to do anything special with the spacing?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes if it's an and, the commas show up automatically, or if it's an or. So if you've got one or more things, right? I've kind of messed this one up. This is sort of newly published there. But yeah, so when it's like this and it's a multi-select and it's an and or an or,
Mhm.
SpecLink will put the commas and they will put they'll put the Oxford comma in there and the and, right? So see,
Okay.
there's a comma at the end of Georgia, so you don't have to do that. So let's go back and look at this one, right? So for this one, I do have a space for that one, but that's partially because I also have and my choices often have the none. So I will often put
Mhm.
a space in there to combat that. When I have several of these things together, I usually set that up as a none option. But
Okay.
there is a row, there is a space between those. So yeah, I mean it. But you can yes.
So it is
Sometimes
something
it
that
does.
you just have to maybe keep an eye on as you're printing your specs to make sure that they're coming out the way you want them to.
Yeah, it depends on how it depends on what the string is. So this is a string of 3, and so it's not terribly difficult to add another one in there as I'm editing if it doesn't. The biggest one I will say that I see the output um, between like city and state. Sometimes sometimes it squishes those things together. I don't know why, but that has happened to me on occasion, and I just go in and put an extra space.
Okay.
Sometimes it just needs an extra space to read that.
Hey,
Don't we
Eric.
all sometimes just need a little extra space, Eric, right?
That's
Aren't we
true.
all just global terms? Alex, while you ask that next question, I'm going to launch another poll here that ties right in nicely with this. And it's just asking everybody here, do you customize your global terms? I'd be curious to know, based on what what Eric is showing us so far and in your daily practice, are you taking advantage of that? So go ahead, Alex, while these get answered.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and I was answering some questions myself, so I hope that this was not already discussed in the few minutes I was going through some questions. But there's somebody asking about the sort of global opportunity to change the section number. So should the owner have a slightly different digit or numbering for a certain section, can the section number be modified in a global way, like the global terms?
Yes, let me shift gear. I can shift gears to it. I can shift gears to address that one real quick.
So just on the global
If I
term
go to
results,
my
we got a 60-40 split between yes, 60% of the people are customizing them, and no, 40% of you are not customizing your global terms. Very interesting. Maybe after today,
so
we'll be inspired.
so yes, you can change the name of a section and a section ID. I do it a lot where, say, I'm working with a consultant who's doing their own specs
Okay.
outside of SpecLink environment. So my structural engineer, so it's checked now, but let's just say that This is on in my table of contents, but this section is not active because I'm going to get a section. I'm going to get that section from the structural engineer, and they've named it 05, 1204, and
Okay.
they just call it structural steel. I can click on the dots. I can change
Uh-huh.
name and ID, and I can change this to whatever it needs to be to
Perfect.
match the consultant's things.
And that will
That way,
disseminate sort of through the full spec book.
it disseminates through all my sections. So anytime I'm
Right.
referencing structural steel, um, it's going to use that section name and number. I probably do it for structural steel and unit masonry. That's an easy one that a lot of different structural engineers use a different
Mm-hmm.
name and number for that. And so I make references to that section throughout some of my other content. And so the easy hack is to just change the name of your section, and you can use that. You
That's
can use that in other places too.
that's perfect. And I know that, yeah, that would go into the different, instances where it's a related section. So all kinds of different, places, of course, where those numbers are going to pop up. So that's very good.
Okay. So the I came up with this, and I was going to do a live demo and actually make a new global term. So to make a new global term, you pull up the flyout, you click on the. I always think of that as a key. Um, this is the term name. So the term name I'm going to put on there, and I copy pasted that in, is Green Building Certification Program. And
And Eric, I love that you're showing us how to add a global term, because we had a question come in about deleting a user created global term. So maybe we
ooh,
can.
that's a tricky one. So
I asked it already.
yeah. So there is it's probably it's the trickiest thing is purging those has got to be the trickiest one, and I actually have one that I want to purge here. So um, I have two global terms for basis of design, and I want to purge the one that says BOD. So there is a place over here where you can try and trash can that. And it's going to tell me that I have 106 instances in my
Oh,
projects.
look at
So I have
that.
to go through and run those down in every instance of the projects. So there is not currently a way that I know of to find all those. Um, you can if the only way you can find most of them is to change that value to something else, right? Change that term to Darth Vader, and then print a draft of all your projects, and you'll get results
Hmm.
for everything that is active, but you won't get the inactive ones. But at least it'll get you a starting point to probably where most of those live.
What about a draft copy though? That would give you the active and inactive, right?
Yeah, an alt text draft.
Uh-huh.
I don't think you can print the project as an alt text draft
That's right. You believe you're right
unless
on
that's been
that.
changed.
Text
Yeah.
draft. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we created. Let's see, 28. Where was I? I'm slightly out of order. 104. All right.
All right.
Oh, that's
Alex,
because
how about
I went back to the wrong section. I'm sorry. Okay. Sequence
no
104.
problem. Eric, you do so many things right that the odd time you need a little bit of grace on a move here, it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
So now I'm in the green building certification program. I'm just going to drop that bad boy there. And so now if I want to edit that, it's like, hey guys, we're not doing lead V4. We're doing lead right? So now it changes that everywhere. So that's a good use case in my opinion for something like that, where you could, for those of you that describe the lead in a certain way, or we're not doing lead anymore. We're gonna do well And so, easy stuff. We talked about that one. All right, let's go to, I think we're going to have some time for, I think we'll have some time to field some more questions here. One of the easy things to do is if you look here on, this is just the pavement marking sections, and here's a place where, the content says state of blank highway department standards. So if I really don't want to fill that in every time, and I can imagine there's a use case where that might not be the state. I have two choices. The easiest choice so I can delete that and drag the state over, or I can just right click and edit that choice. And now it's a single select. And now I can say add global term state and pick the project state and then save. And now it turned blue because remember, fill in the blanks that are only fill in the blanks are red. And once you have more than one choice, it becomes blue. So now it says state of Georgia because my global term for this state is Georgia. So the next time, now I would probably, in this case, I would probably copy that choice, come down here and paste enhanced text. So you can copy global terms. So if that's a little easier than fixing it, depends on what your preference is. So now next time so if that's my template, obviously the next time I do something in the state of Texas, for example, that will say comply with state of Texas highway department standard. So
Eric,
go ahead.
Quick question that's coming in here. And Lisa's asking, global terms always seem to be alphabetical. Can they be reorganized in the global terms list? And that I'd be curious, Lisa, if you want to chime in, what the use on that. Maybe it's like a most frequently used scenario or something like that. I know the search bar will be pretty quick, but
yeah, I can understand how if you look at let's see if this is a good one. There are uses for. Let me find a different sequence. There's relevant content that sort of lives in different places. And I could see, okay. So let's just say, I guess if you had if you look at everything that's got a date associated with it, right? Mm-hmm. They sort of live all over the place. So if I wanted to update all the date stuff or I wanted to check the dates, I would tend to lean on this using the search tool to filter out whatever smaller list of global terms you're looking for. I type in this window all the time. It's a long list, and it's faster than scrolling for me to type the date. It doesn't matter if I know I'm looking for the footer date or the header date. I just type date, and it gives me a list that I don't have to scroll on.
That makes sense. That's a good. Okay, interesting. Yeah, Lisa came back and said sort by section, like summary items versus technical items. But I think right now it's looking like just using that search feature is going to be the quickest way to find the things that you want to find.
Yeah, but then if you have a list, if you make as you make your list of global terms, if you want to make your section that has your list of global terms, mm-hmm. you can sort those however you want.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I sort them in mine. I sort them alphabetically, so that I can remember and see when I don't have something. I've created something new, and I mm-hmm. don't have it on the list. That's how I keep. Okay. That's how I keep track of it to make sure I've got all the stuff.
All right. I want to be. This is flying by. It's. We've got 15 minutes left, so I want to make sure, Eric, you get to all the goodies that you had. So how are we doing on time? Could we still bug you with questions, or do you have your list of things that you want to make sure that we all learn from?
No, I got most of the highlights, I think.
All right. Because we have about 15,000 questions that we're
let's go.
Waiting through here, waiting to get you. I know we're doing our best to field them in the comment section as well. So Alex and I are fast and furious in the comment section today. let me
Silently
find.
typing.
Alex, you got one on ready to go?
Um,
Some are suggestions here. Some are.
yeah, I think there's a definitely a popular sort of theme of question where people are wanting to know. I don't know that this is a feature that's available, but people are asking if there's a way to filter and show only the terms that are used in a given project. So, to my understanding, that's not currently the case, but the terms are designed to be highly generic as a starting point so that they, in a sense, fit the bill for any type of project. So it'll just say
Yeah.
state architect or owner or, state. Um, so, it's really more of the things that you care about that you want, to kind of stand out or be custom that you can, it gives you that opportunity. But unless, Eric, you're aware of the difference
No,
there.
I'm not aware of anything other than to search by use or to search the global terms list using certain
Uh-huh.
keyword searches, and it does remember a number of things that I've started. You can see I got super lazy and picked SP, and it came up with everything I needed, but um, you know, it
Oh, this
remembers
is
a
a
lot
great
of
question.
your search terms. Yeah, go ahead.
This is a great question from Lily, who's my new LinkedIn friend now. This is fantastic. Given that multiple users are working in SpecLink and have ability to create global terms, what strategies do you recommend for managing and standardizing these terms to prevent duplication or inconsistencies caused by differing interpretations? Fantastic question.
I got you. You go to the people and you list your people. You go to your people and you
I thought
manage
you
your
meant like
people.
in person. You like go to them in person and say, stop creating global terms.
Yeah, yeah. No, you can control who has the if you go to the system settings, you can lock down who is allowed to create user global terms.
Okay, I didn't know you could lock down global terms. Could you? Is that something you could show us?
So yeah, so under people, you go to role permissions, and I would have to find it. Let's see, document
While you're finding
editor.
that, I'm going to jump in with Ethan,
Boom.
who made a comment. It says
Here
that
we
they use a
go. You guys see
variety
my
of.
comment? So here it is. So it's under the document manager. So under Office Masters, document manager, global terms on the left,
Mhm.
global terms, custom, insert global terms, manager, export, like delete global
Cool,
terms. Just if you want to control that, just shut that thing down and set it to system manager.
brilliant. Ethan chimed in with a comment saying, and this is going back just a bit, but to organize their global terms, they'll use an underscore or an asterisk underscore to help organize them uh, in a different kind of way. So something to think about.
Oh, that pushes them to the top. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
All right. For everybody who, I'm getting a bunch of questions too about, is this going to be recorded? Will I be able to watch this again? Absolutely. These are all recorded and they're up on our, we put them up on our website. So I will post in the chat the link for that, but it should be simple enough to type RIB software spec talk. And you see this beautiful photo of Alex and I just waiting to to answer any of your questions. So I'll put that in the chat so you guys can find the recordings. Are usually up. Maybe Morgan can correct me, but I think the next day they usually get posted, if I'm not mistaken. So um, you can find them
So I want
there.
to build on this notion of locking that thing down. If you go to your dashboard and go to your people and go to the role permissions, there are so many things that you can basically, control, control the how and what people can do to the projects. And I get it. If you're managing a large firm and you've got, a whole bunch of licenses, you want to be fairly strict about like who can create something from a template. Like you may need to put that as a system manager. Um, you may not want to let anybody import something from Word. Do you want a junior spec writer to grab a guide spec and plug that into the project? And maybe you don't, maybe you didn't see it until they put it in. You can just sort of start to shut those things down. You may not want someone grabbing something from another project. You may want to restrict that. But everything that's here is customizable at every at every level. So if you want to know like what you can do to, you know, view models and access the BIM file tab, all these things are controllable in the role permissions.
Yeah, that's a lot of, I know when you're running a firm, especially the more hands that are in these files, somebody thinks they're doing a favor and they create a new global term. And I know it happens in drafting too, right? If there's for anybody on who's doing any drafting, somebody creates a thing that they think is helpful, somebody needs that same thing, they create their own version of it, and then it just gets messy real quick. So having those permissions where you can really say like, yeah, this guy's in charge of it, and then if he needs your help with it, they can work that out. But yeah, the permissions are a really, really important way, not that you don't trust your staff, but just making sure that that ensures the consistency on your project, right? Is when one person is the voice of how these things are going to be implemented.
Yep.
All right. We are looking at a couple more questions here. So I don't know, man, the viewers must
Fire
only
away.
hear keyboard clacking of what we're all up to now. So that's good to know, Master Editor. All right, excellent. We're getting some thumbs ups in the comments too, which is always a good thing. It would be cool to filter it to show only terms used in your given project. Eric, is that an option? If you open global terms, if you go to your document manager right now, and go to global terms, it's going to show you all the global terms you have access to, correct?
Yeah,
But
I
not
don't know of
necessarily
any.
used in the project.
Yeah, I smell an enhancement feature.
All right. Well,
There's room for another button here that say active in project.
Yep.
There's room for another button right there.
call
There
it the
is the
Eric button.
perfect room.
Yeah, it's like it's teasing us, just asking for another button right there. We've got a few more minutes left. Why don't I got one more simple poll that I'd like to ask, and this is a repeat question. Just want to know who of the beautiful people that are on with us today are current SpecLink users. Yes, no, or yes, but my consultants are not. We've definitely have a lot of previous spec talks that we've done that are talking about consultants. Later this year, I'll give you guys a little teaser. We are having a dedicated spec talk for engineers as well. So that's going to cover all kinds of collaboration and answer a lot of questions about working with your consultants as well. So you've got that to look forward to. Oh, geez, maybe now would be a good time. I could tease a few future episodes that we got later this week or later this year. We're going to have Spec Talk for Engineers. We're going to have one about the accessibility, the user interface of SpecLink. So I know I was chatting with somebody in the comments here about the ability to copy paste, Eric. That was something that came up in the comments today. Rather than right clicking and having to do copy, if Control C and Control V would be something that would work. And I'll try to find that question again.
So
I remember.
I can address a couple of copy paste issues. So you can copy a couple of different ways. I can right click from this tab. Oops, where did I go? Oh, you can't do a whole lot when the global term editor is open. You gotta close that. So oh sorry, it's because I'm in active view instead of normal view. So if you need to copy and paste things, you really need to be in normal view so that you can see everything. So there's a couple different ways to copy. You can copy a paragraph, which means a single line. You can copy the branch, which means everything down from the whatever line you're on. So if I'm on sequence 12 and I copy that branch, it'll copy everything down from there. If I want to grab just this one for D1, it'll grab everything underneath it. I can right click and I can copy the branch. And the same thing, you can right click and well, paste paragraph. It won't let you paste a branch if you didn't copy a branch. But if I copy that branch, I can then go back in and paste the branch. You can also paste the branch with the links. So be very careful what you do when you're copying those links. But you do have the capability to carry those links with you when you copy and paste content. Copy paragraph, paste paragraph with links. Okay. Control C. I So here's a little bit of a. I'll try to use this as a copy hack, for lack of a better description. So I can, if I highlight this content and I use the Control C, if I Control V, it puts this little gray window around it. So I don't know if that's because I'm on a Mac. So that may be punishment for being on a Mac. But you can edit, and then you can paste and match style, and it will make it match. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Now I can also copy that branch, right? But now if I try to paste, it's still gonna, the computer still remembers that I'm doing that. So you can sort of have a couple different things in the queue, if that makes sense. So I can have sort of on the clipboard, I could have a branch, I could have some text, and I could have I can copy that choice. Now I can paste that enhanced text, right? Or I can Control V there, or I can paste the branch. So it sort of remembers a couple of different things if you're sort of doing a whole bunch of copy and paste. It's a little editing hack. The other hack is the thing I can't do is I can't copy that choice and change my tab and paste that same choice. But what I can do is I can gotta refresh that. I can copy that whole paragraph, and then I can paste it into so I can take this paragraph, I can copy it, I can go to my next line, I can paste it, then I can grab that global term, whatever I need, and then come back in here and then delete that paragraph. I do a lot of that.
We should just have you on for another episode one day, Eric, and just have you watch you work on a real project and just appreciate the workflow, because the way your brain works and how you apply your creativity to using SpecLink and making it all happen is honestly
level.
So inspiring. And I know we got to start wrapping it up here, guys. So if we could show Eric some love on the screen with some hand claps or something like that. Eric, it's always so awesome to have you on and hear you again walk through. Like I learned so much. Alex is learning. It's really great to have high-end SpecLink guests or SpecTalk guests and coming in sharing their knowledge with us. We are going to start to wrap it up. I have like 90 seconds. Look at all the love coming in for Eric. God, that's fantastic.
Aww.
That's fantastic.
I could figure out how to stop sharing my screen. That'd be great.
That's okay. I'm about to take over here with a quick. So let me do my Shift F5 there. If you guys want to reach out to Eric, ask any questions, hire him for some consulting or some even template building, Eric at letbetterinc.com. He's there, and I'm sure he's more than happy to connect on LinkedIn as well. His website's fantastic, tons of great information. So definitely reach out to Eric. Our next episode is in 2 weeks. This one, guys, this is for all of you guys that have all the questions. We are doing a SpecLink open house. This means there is no topic. You guys, the viewers, are the topic. Bring your questions. Bring your pain points. Let us try to help you get through the little frustrations that are keeping you from getting through your specs faster and more efficiently. Our very own Alex Fulton is going to be our guest. He's going to be on standby, ready to help answer all your questions, and we will be there in the comment section as well, trying to answer all your questions and make sure everybody's getting the most out of their SpecLink. So for now, I just want to say thank you guys for being here again. Another fantastic episode. Alex, always a pleasure, my friend, to have you on and share the screen with you. And Eric, I hope, maybe we'll go for a run one day. Maybe you can cut your pace in half, and maybe we can do a little jog next time I'm down in Atlanta or something like that.
Happy to do it. Let's go.
Excellent. All right. I need a bit of a head start, but I think we'll be all set.
You'll be fine.
All right, guys. Thank you again, everybody, for coming. Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure. We'll definitely have you back another day. Everyone have a perfect day, and we'll see everyone soon. All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.